Do you want me to just start?
Yeah, started.
I didn't realize we went live. I was waiting for the intro theme music.
The issue with live broadcasting, people, pay attention. This
Oh
is
my
what
God,
happens.
that's hilarious. Well, welcome to Both Sides of the Coin, the awkward start to the talk show where facts matter and political correctness do not.
Well, welcome to Both Sides of the Coin.
And now I can even hear myself in the background. So at least this mess up isn't my fault. At least that one's not my fault.
Wow.
Oh, man. We'll get into some heated discussions. Some comical ones, obviously. But at the end of the day, we'll at least, I don't know, after that mess up, we might not be able to. But most of the time, we'll be able to at least shake hands and stay friends. My man, JB, how are you today?
Doing good. Obviously, a little bit more sleep last night would have been good, but we had a great show with Gary Myers on.
That's fun.
NFL writer talking about his book with RG3.
Yeah.
So that was a good, nice night. Probably was a little hyped up talking some good NFL, and I know we're going to talk some great NFL tonight.
Oh, yeah. Got a big NFL slate tonight. A little bit of basketball mixed in, but
always basketball.
Well, it's basketball season, so
got to talk NBA.
Got to have some sprinkled in. No baseball, really. There's not much to talk about because we're locked out. Maybe there'll be a lockdown in the future. Hindsight, 2020, something like that. Anyways, let's get right down to it. We always like to start during the NFL weeks with our NFL ranking list. Do you want to start with yours and then I'll get into mine?
Let's do number one first. Let's alternate. So
okay, we can alternate. I like that idea.
So let's start with number one. I'm going to go Green Bay right now. As much as I hate to say it.
Wow.
I mean, everyone else in the NFC is losing except for the Cowboys, and they're right there. But I'm going to go Green Bay number one, unfortunately.
I hate that pick. I hate it. You go. I'll tell you why I hate it.
Well, I'm right today. This is today's list. The list changes weekly because these teams don't want to keep winning, But I'm going to start with Green Bay, and I'm hoping that they'll be a new number one next week. But they're number one for today.
So I can't put them number one because just because the Ravens have been struggling running the ball. The Miami defense showed teams how to stop the Ravens. Stack the box, bring pressure, make Lamar throw off his back foot into coverage, make quick decisions, and he struggles with it. And not only is he out, but they have the poor man's Lamar Jackson in there, and they couldn't stop the run. Could not stop the run at all. And I've been saying this for a while. People have been saying Green Bay's defense has gotten a lot better. They can pass rush and they can cover a little bit. They can't stop the run. That's their weakness. And it was really exposed, I think, at least in that game, of how much they can't stop the run, which I really think will hurt them. And that's the big reason why I don't even have them in my top two. My number one right now is the team that everybody in 8 weeks ago was, is this so? That's whole Tom Brady, right? Oh, is this over? And it's not the Buccaneers shit, but just how he's a one. The NFL figured him out. They're gonna bracket Tyreek Hill, and he can't do anything. And yes, it's the Chiefs. The Chiefs are the number one team. Their defense came around. Their offense is their offense. They put an absolute dominating performance against the Raiders. They beat the Chargers in a shootout when they needed to beat the Chargers on the road. I mean, I think the Chargers are a pretty good team. I mean, their defense is a little, up and down, but their offense is no joke. They have Eckler, they have Keenan Allen. Herbert is a legit. I mean, if you watch that game, he makes throws that only a couple quarterbacks in the NFL can make on a consistent basis. Dude's got a rocket. He's got a rocket for an arm. He can run. He's the real deal. He is the real deal. And I in the beginning, I was kind of unsure, but there are some throws that he makes every time I watch him that I'm just like, wow, that's really impressive. So you got to put Chiefs number one. Winning a tough road game in the division against a good team. They were down. They were playing bad, and somehow Mahomes willed them to win. Somehow he did. So they're my clear-cut number one. My number 2, I'll go 2 and then you go 2, 3.
Yeah.
We'll snake it. It is a sneaky number 2 right now, but I think there's a reason why they're number 2, and that's going to be the Rams. I think they finally made the smart decision of getting away from, well, they're forced into it, of getting away from Henderson and going to Sony Michel. I think Michel is a legit back. I think he's the style of runner that they need. Someone who you can hand the ball to 20 times in a game and it's going to get you, even if it's 80 yards, they're the type of yards that bangs up the defense, that opens up the pass game. He is, I think, a big reason why they've been playing better. I think they got away from the run in that little blip in the middle of the year. I think they've got really pass happy. Oh, we have Cooper Kupp. We got OBJ. Let's just pass it. It doesn't work. It doesn't work that way. So I'm putting them at number 2 because I think they're going to end up winning the West. I think the Cardinals not having Hopkins is really, really hurting them right now. I don't think they have a receiver that can get open. I don't. I mean, who else do they have right now? So I think they're going to end up winning the West. So I'm putting the Rams at number 2.
Okay. So you got the Rams number 2. I'm going to go Chiefs number 2 as I'm typing it up to put on the ticker.
Okay.
I think that their win against San Diego, I always call them San Diego, the win against Los Angeles,
Just say the Chargers. It's easier. It's the Redskins. It's the Chargers. Who cares?
Listen, I got to say, there are teams that the Chargers are going to kick themselves in the head because they could be up 2 games right now in that division. They lost a bunch of games they should have won. Now they're
young.
In first place.
They're really
young. No, I understand, but that's the difference between taking it to the next level, and they're going to have to do it next year. But when you look back at the season, you're going to look and say we had opportunity. And, the Chiefs, who started out horrible, and everyone was saying, what's wrong with Mahomes? Mahomes is, something's different. He hasn't had a stellar year like he's had previously.
He's had a pretty decent year.
He's having a really good year.
That's the problem. Everybody has these expectations of if he's not MVP, he's having a bad. The dude is like, what is he? Number 2 in touchdown passes? Yeah, he's thrown more picks because he's taking more chances because they're behind. And they also have the most drops. The guy hits a beer. Oop, interception.
That and their offensive line is horrible. They have one of the worst offensive lines in the NFL. So, he's having to go on the run like he has. And he's the only one in the NFL that can make half of the throws he makes. So, I don't ever sit there and say the guy's not having a great year. But that was the talk in the beginning of the year. I think that, having them 1 for you isn't a horrible choice. And I definitely, I have them number 2 right now. I think
they can't be lower than 2.
No, they're phenomenal. I don't know who in the AFC at this point is going to beat them. I can't see anybody.
Honestly, the only one I can see has a chance is the Chargers. And they're going to be a wild card team. They're the only team that I think has a chance. The Ravens aren't. The Bengals aren't. The Titans aren't. The Patriots, if they got lucky, could potentially. But I don't even think the Patriots are gonna win the division. I think the Bills will end up winning their division, and I think the Bills have too many holes, especially with what's his name, their cornerback. I can't think of his name. He tore his ACL and is out for the year. I can't think of his name, but that's a big loss for them.
No, that definitely is. And number 3, you're gonna like number 3. I'm gonna let you read it off the screen.
Manscaped. Come on, put it up there. Put it up there. I know who it is. I'm wearing their hat. I know who it's going to be. Come on.
Did not come up?
No, it didn't come up yet. It's up right here. There goes. That's up right here. How about them Cowboys? How funny is that?
They are definitely number 3. They manhandled the Giants, which, right now we can get 10 guys. We can get 9 guys off. We can get 9 guys off the street and manhandle the Giants. I mean, they're just not a good team. But if you're a season ticket holder, 1 out of your 4 tickets, you get a 1 free medium Pepsi. So make sure you take advantage of that. Classy organization. How the Giants have come down to being just as bad as the Jets is a New York City disgrace story. But so let's get back to the Cowboys. They're just a good team. I like who they've become. They've drafted well, as we've spoken about.
Yeah.
They gave Dak a lot of weapons with Cooper and Lamb and Zeke, and then Pollard's another great back. A good change of pace from Zeke. They're going to be a good team. What scares me is I don't see them going to Green Bay and winning, so they have to make sure that they can do what they can do to play at home. And I don't know if they can go to LA and win. But at home, I think that they can handle all those teams. They're a game out of the top spot, so we'll see what happens with that. I don't know if they can catch it because they have all division games left. But the NFC East division games are like, wars. So I don't know if I can see them winning out, but they right now are my number 3.
It's funny. This might be a first. I'm on the complete opposite of you, right? So as of today, I have the Packers at number 3. And it's not because I think they're better than Dallas, because I actually don't. I actually think the opposite of you. I want to face Green Bay. I think we are a bad matchup for Green Bay because we have the type of offense that can get a lot of pressure on Aaron Rodgers, and he's not fast enough to run away from Randy Gregory, from Micah Parsons, from DeMarcus Lawrence. And we have the type of corners that he can't just make those, I hope I make a throw deep and Devontae Adams picks it up and runs. And because we have actually some corners that can cover. Our weak spot has always been, at least this year, running the ball up the middle. Trey White is that who it is? I can't. Tre'Davious, maybe that's who it was. Regardless, their soft spot has been. I mean, they got what's his name, Tyson Hill back, but then he got suspended for punching the guy in an Oakland game. The middle of their defense has been kind of their Achilles heel right now. So if you run right at them, you can wear them down and then do some play action. That's kind of what the Raiders did. They got a lot of play action against Anthony Brown and got some bad calls against Anthony Brown. So I just think that the Packers can run the ball, but they haven't been. They haven't been running with A.J. Dillon. They've been running with Aaron Jones trying to do sweeps. And I think that's their issue. I'm putting the Packers at 3, but I don't think I actually think they're going to lose to the Vikings. Not this week, but next week. This week they play who do they play? They play the Lions in the last week. They play the Vikings in week 16, and they play somebody bad this week. I think they're going to end up going 2-1.
They play the Browns this week coming up.
Yeah, they play the Browns. They should beat the Browns. It stinks of the Browns because they're just so injury-ridden, with COVID-ridden and all that. So they kind of got the short end of the stick there, but they should beat the Browns. With that said, like I said in the beginning, I think their defense got exposed a little. They should have lost to the Ravens without Lamar Jackson. Like, what? What the heck is that? And I mean, look, I actually am pretty critical. I think them going for 2 in both spots was incredibly stupid because, well, let me rephrase that. I don't think it was as bad of a call when they had Lamar back there making the throw. I think it's a bad call when you have Huntley back there. But at the end of the day, it's kind of like poker, right? In poker, you want to bet your good hands and you want to fold your weak to average hands, right? Well, in football, when the game's on the line, same thing. You want to go with your strength, not go, hopefully, if you do fake your strength, you can kind of maybe, sneak one behind the door. Both plays are the same. They play action off the run. The run is their strength, and try to do something they're not as good at, which is a pass in the flat. And it's just, when the game is on the line, I don't go with your strength. Who cares? Like the Cowboys, when their offense was clicking, they said, we're going to run the ball right down your throat. We're coming at you and you can't stop us. We're just going to do it. And when you put that type of mindset into the opposing defense, that's when you really start being successful, because you get in their heads and say, oh crap, the game's on the line. They're going to run the ball right at me and I'm going to mess up. And that's what happens. So I have more of an issue with the play call than I do them going for it. With that being said, the Ravens should have won that game. So I put the Packers at 3 because they ended up getting lucky and winning that. But I actually think they're going to lose to the Vikings, and I think the Cowboys are going to win out. I think Washington is being proven the fraud that they are. Obviously, they're a little COVID-ridden and injury-ridden too, but every team's faced it. The Cowboys faced that in the middle of the season. Every team has faced this COVID issue at some point. So you gotta take it in stride. So I think the Cowboys will pound the Redskins this week. I think they'll beat. I think they'll end up beating the Cardinals in Week 16, because I think not having DeAndre Hopkins is real. The Cardinals might lose out. I mean, I just, they have a tough game this week. They play the Colts this week. Then they have the Cowboys, and then they end up, I think, at home.
What do you have number 4?
The Cowboys. I have the Cowboys at number 4. So I think that's obvious. I think the top 4 teams are the top 4 teams. I don't think there's really much wiggle. I don't know who your 4 is, but I think the top 4 are pretty clear, at least in my eyes. Who 1, 2, 3, or 4 is kind of, up for debate, but the top 4, I think, are the top 4. So I put my Cowboys at 4. I won't be too long on them. I know I'm ranting a little bit. I'll just say, I know their offense has been sputtering a little bit, but I think continuity is a big factor in their offense, and they're just coming off that COVID, whatever outbreak you want to call it, for the last 3 weeks. Missing players, Zeke been injured, Pollard now has plantar fasciitis. Zeke looked healthy. The offensive line looked better. Tyrone's coming back. They start running the ball again, their offense is going to click. And I think this is the right time to start getting your pieces back. Look at their defense. I told you, their defense was good. When they start getting DeMarcus Lawrence back, they get Randy Gregory back, watch out. Their defense is going to be even more legit. And that's only proven to be true. So they get healthy. I think they're going to win out and end up being the 1 seed. So who's your number 4?
Number 4, I got your number 3, the Rams.
The top 4 of the top 4.
Yeah, I mean, you pretty much said it all. Cooper Kupp for wide receivers having an MVP type season.
Yeah.
Stafford is better than Goff was. I don't think they're going to go anywhere with Stafford. I think they'll find a way to lose. I'm going to say, going back to my number 3, this is a very winnable NFC for the Cowboys. I don't like the Rams with Stafford. Arizona with the Hopkins injuries in trouble.
I agree.
Tampa, if you can follow the New Orleans system for how you play them and get pressure on Brady and get in his face, they're beatable. They're my number 5, even though they look horrible this week.
They're just so injured, though. I mean, they've lost everybody. Antonio Brown coming back is going to be a big boost, though.
Yeah, but I mean, right now they still round out the top 5. Those are the 5 that I'm looking for. I'll be honest with you, the NFC is winnable for the Cowboys right now. They just have to do what they have to do the last 3 weeks to make sure they can play as many games in that nice $1 million stadium that they have.
So they're actually, ironically enough, not to cut you off, but they're actually the best road team in the NFL. I think they're 7-1 on the road this year, I think is what it is. 3 losses, either 2 or all 3 losses have been at home. The Chiefs, they were at Arrowhead. They lost to Oakland. They lost to, Las Vegas, Denver, and they lost to the Bucks in Tampa too. But I think they must be 7-2 on it. It's something like that. 6-2 on the road. I think it's 6-2. 6-2 on the road. So they're a good road team. They don't play. Notoriously, their field has not been a home field advantage for them. It's been that way for a while. I think that's just more of the NFL in general. Home field doesn't matter as much as it used to. it matters a little. I think it matters more in playoff games than it does in regular season games.
Playoffs and weather are the two times where it matters, in my opinion.
Yeah. When you're in a dome, you're in a dome. So,
and when you go to a place like Kansas City where it's really loud, there's very few stadiums that do that.
Seattle,
Kansas City, Seattle. Those would be the two that stick out of my head.
And the weather in Kansas City, weather Green Bay. You can say New England too, because New England always gets calls in New England. Like they just always do.
I don't know. It seems, but I don't think it's going to matter as much now without Brady there. I think that was more of a Brady thing.
Either way, speaking of New England, that's who I put in my number 5. I think number 5 is kind of a at this point. I think the Super Bowl winner is going to come out of one of the 4 teams in the top 4 that we both have. I think one of those 4 teams is a Super Bowl winner. I think the Chiefs are as sure of a bet to make it to the Super Bowl as they ever were. I think the AFC has crumbled. The only thing that might stand in their way is if the Titans get healthy, get Henry back, get A.J. Brown back, and start playing the type of football that they, were playing in the beginning of the year. But other than that, I don't see any other team beating them. I don't. So it'll just be a matter of who comes out of the NFC, and I think it will end up, the Rams, Packers, or the Cowboys. But that's my top 5.
Yeah, I mean, we're pretty similar. The top 4, we agree. Number 5's a crapshoot.
Yeah. It can be Pats, Cards, or Bucks. That's who I had. Though one of those 3, it's kind of.
And really, none of these teams were. I mean, the Chiefs out of the teams had the best week out of the top 5 out of everybody. Everybody else lost or looked horrible. So that just goes to show you that's the top 5 who we think. So that's
I wouldn't say the Cowboys looked horrible. They just didn't have a dominating performance.
They were a test. They played the Giants. I mean,
they should have dominated, and they didn't dominate. I mean, they played well. Their defense really locked down. I mean, but again, it's Glennon, right? Like, whoop-de-doo. But at the end of the day, their defense still did what it had to do in that game. So, I'm just going to leave with the note of it's interesting how, every week it seems like there's pretty much 7, maybe 8 teams that our top 5 fluctuates between, but it's been pretty much those 7 or 8 teams the entire year.
Oh, without a doubt. And right now with the COVID situation, which you're going to transition into in a minute, I mean, we had Tuesday Night Football this week, which is always a strange thing. We had teams that had, the teams of guys on COVID list or injured, trying to put out teams. We had the Browns who were, I think, a 3rd-string quarterback.
Yeah.
The Redskins.
5th-string quarterback.
I don't know what, with the Washington football team. I want to call them the Redskins.
No, it's the Redskins.
I'm living in the 2000s, not the 2020s.
No, you can live in the real world. It's the Redskins.
So
PC doesn't matter here.
It's sad to see what the NFL's doing. I don't know what the answer to it is, but at the same time,
we'll get into that in the COVID talk, the vaccine and all that stuff. The one thing before we get there, what's one team? I was thinking about this as you were talking. One team that's not on this list that you think has a chance to make noise in the playoffs, and that includes the Cards and the Bucks. So Chiefs, Rams, Packers, Cowboys, Pats, Cards, Bucks. Can't mention those guys.
Right. I was talking earlier tonight with a friend. This is my new yearly thing. I look for a team that I want to watch and get excited about. And this year, I think I'm going to go with the Bengals. If Joe Burrow can stay healthy, they have a nice mix of run-pass game. Their defense is decent. Are they going to win it all? No. But they're fun to watch. And that's been my experiment, throughout these last years, having a horrible Giants fan, horrible team to watch.
Haven't the Giants not made the playoffs in something like 8 consecutive years or 9 years?
They haven't been over 500 over 5 years. Not one game over 500 in 5 years. I mean, that is disgusting.
Yeah,
so,
that's pretty bad.
This has become my yearly thing. Come November, December, I start looking for a team that I want to follow and, become a quasi fan of, and, that has a shot to make the playoffs and maybe do something. I'm not trying to pick the Super Bowl winner. I'm not looking for, a boring pick like the Chiefs or the Rams, and I'm never going to pick the Cowboys and the Eagles. It's never going to happen. They're in the division. You're automatically out. So this year I'm going with the Bengals. Let's see what Joe Burrow can do.
Interesting.
I'm all in on it.
So I have two, only because I think one should be disqualified because they're clearly in the playoffs, and this is more of a team that's like kind of not in the hunt. But my one team is the counter to Burrow, which is the Chargers. Yes. Right?
Well, another exciting team.
I like to. They're not my team to pick who I think is kind of off the radar because they're clearly on the radar. They're going to make the playoffs, so that doesn't really count them. But I like watching them. I want to see them do good. I like Herbert, but my team that is off the radar that I can't stand them. But I think in the beginning of the year I thought they'd be a lot better, and they went off to really not having a good start, but have been coming on very strong lately. Is the Colts?
Yes, they're playing great football.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're a dangerous team with Taylor. I think Wentz is gonna sink them because he sucks. But they have Pittman, they have Hilton, they have a pretty decent defense, they have a really strong offensive line, and they have a great coach. I think Frank Wright is a really good coach. So with a little bit of luck, you never know. But they've just been playing really, really well. They're sneaking up on teams. They're what are they, 8-6 right now? Is that their record? I mean, weren't they like 3-7 at one point?
They were pretty bad. They hit a slump.
They were really just not playing well, and they've come on strong. And they're a team who, if they make the playoffs, I would not want to play them.
Well, they play playoff type football. Run the ball, good defense.
Yeah.
As long as Wentz doesn't do what Wentz will do, they can make noise. Not a bad choice. I mean, the Chargers are fun to watch. They were another
Chargers are fun to watch. I don't think they're going to win the Super Bowl, but
but
they're going to be a tough out. Whoever plays them, I would not be surprised if you said to me, we sat here and we're like, "Hey, it's Chargers Chiefs AFC Championship game." I would not only say I'm not surprised, I would probably say that's probably the most exciting matchup we can see. We've seen two great games with them so far. So and they've already beat them in Arrowhead. So, I would love to see that as an AFC championship. So
I don't think anybody has a shot to beat the Chiefs, though. They got through the hard part. Listen, the NFL schedule is a grind. It's not
it's a marathon. It's not a sprint.
That's why only one team's ever got undefeated and won a Super Bowl. The Patriots came really close. The Giants got lucky. As a Giant fan, I'll tell you, we got lucky and we beat them. It was a great game plan, but it still took a lot of luck. That's why it's only been done once. And it was
done once in an era where you only played 12 games.
Right,
so a lot less. I think it's going to be even harder now that there's 17 games.
Exactly.
It's going to be even way harder. And I think it's like the difference in college football, right? You have college football, you have Alabama and all these teams are in the top 4, and even like Ole Miss. The difference between Ole Miss and Alabama is light years. I mean, you put Ole Miss and Alabama on the same field, I think Alabama wins that game 80 times out of 100, maybe even 90 times out of 100.
At least, I would say 90 for sure.
And if you put, and I'm saying motivated, like a motivated Ole Miss team and a motivated Alabama team. Now, if you put a motivated, like opening day Jaguars team up against a Chiefs team, whoever, I don't think it's going to be 80 times. No. I don't. I think they'll probably win maybe 65, maybe 70, but it's definitely not going to be as high as it would be. And that's my point, is like Ole Miss is like 7, 8, or 9. Like they're a top 10 team in college football. Jacksonville is the worst team in the NFL. I mean, look at the Lions. The Lions go play hard every single – that coach is phenomenal. He gets the most out of that team. They play so hard every single game. every single game, and they are in every single game. They lose because the talent difference is
it's
so
a talent
much.
level difference, but yes, they play tough.
My point is that motivation is literally the difference, because yes, the talent level is wide, but it's not as wide as it is in college football. Motivation makes up that gap, so much so that they're in the game. So, I just think that you'll never see an undefeated team because of that. You'll never see one. It's just too hard.
It's so hard.
It's too hard.
So what do we got next on the agenda?
So, we spent a lot of time on that. Well, the other thing, the main, issue we want to talk about, the whole portion of this show is political correctness is not important. So what matters are the facts, and the facts are right now we have all these different leagues suspending themselves from COVID, and everybody's catching COVID, the Omicron variant. I'm not going to get into a political discussion of, should we lock down or things like that. All I'm going to say is you can look up the reports. You can do your own research. From everything I've seen, this looks like the standard common cold. That's what a lot of people are saying. That's what South Africa data is. It looks like it's just very, very contagious, but not deadly at all. Not deadly at all. And I guess my whole point here is, at what point do we say enough is enough and it's time to go back to normal? People are going to get sick. Some people might die, but that's how it was with the flu in 17, 18, 19. We lived with the common cold. And I think people forget that because the mainstream media didn't talk about it, but people still died from the flu before COVID. A good amount. I think I sent you the article. What was it, like 60-some thousand people in America died from the flu in 2017 to 18? And again, I'm not promoting death. That's not what I'm saying. All I'm saying is, at what point do we start saying, okay, it's time to get back to living our life? Because we're talking about lockdowns now. We're talking the winter of death. Like, what are we doing here? Did we not see everybody at the college football games packed in tightly, not wearing masks? And Adam promotes that. but seriously, like, I was just in Disney. Everybody was packed tight walking through, and I'm okay. I'm here. Like, what are we doing? At what point are we going to say enough isn't? I mean, like, you fly on a plane, right? That's as closed space as you're going to get. You really think wearing a mask is going to stop you from catching something?
So,
I'm not trying to get political. All I'm trying to say is it's time to live our lives. It's enough.
We're not, we do talk a little political here, not overly political, but I saw something on Instagram today, and it kind of fits the bill for this whole thing.
Right.
Basically, it was, they told the people to get jabbed so that it would protect everybody.
Right.
They told the people that got jabbed that the people that didn't get jabbed, that it was important, Basically, it was just playing both sides of the vaccine debate.
Right.
How you got to get the vaccine because it'll protect you, but if you get the vaccine, it doesn't work, so you got to go get a booster.
Right.
And just the way it was written, it was great. Now I do think there is something to the vaccine. I think that, in all honesty, without the vaccine, I think this would be a lot more deadly with the different variants. Do I think it's the perfect solution? No, I don't. I don't think any of this is perfect. I think that there's a bunch of stuff we can get into, which I'm not going to at this point, but how it relates to sports, it's a tough decision on what to do, because you're talking about millions and billions of dollars, TV contracts, player contracts, ticket sales, advertisers. You don't want to lose that money, but you want to do, I asked Gary last night, I said, what do you think the NFL, do you think they've done a good job with it so far? He said yes. He says that they take player safety into account. I don't know. I mean, the NFL, to me, 19 guys on a COVID list, you're still playing a game when you have an extra week that you can add to the season because you have the week before the Super Bowl. I don't know. To me, that doesn't seem like player safety is paramount. But at the same time, luckily, nobody in the NFL that has gotten or contracted COVID has gotten seriously ill or has had major medical issues at this point. We saw, I think today there was how many positives? I think 75, I believe, if I'm correct, from today.
Something like that, yeah.
I mean, the numbers are going through the roof. This is obviously whatever variant this is. It's quite contagious. The Omicron thing. So you want to, at the same time, keep everyone as safe as possible. Is it the vaccine that has helped with lessening, lessening the effects of it, or is it, just a weaker version of it? I have no way of knowing. I'm not a scientist. But as far as sports go, these are tough decisions. What do you want to play these games? Do you want to take a chance of losing the money? Do you want to protect your guys? How do you protect a team of 80 guys in the NFL? You don't want to lock everybody up. Well, you can't go out. You can't do this. You guys got to sit in a hotel. Don't go out. Don't go to dinner. Don't see your family. But at the same time, you want your guys to be healthy and be able to play on Sunday or Monday. So it's a tough decision and tough, to figure out the best course of action for the NFL. Right now, I think they're trying to do what's best for everybody. It's just, I think that there needs to be a better system in place.
I think the answer is pretty simple. I think the answer is if and this is what I don't get at all. It's been proven. I don't think there's any argument against objective, reality. The vaccine does nothing for transmissibility. If you're vaccinated or not, if you can transmit it, and if you get infected, whether you're vaccinated or not, you'll transmit it. You'll, be able to spread it, right? So why there's different rules for people who are vaccinated or not vaccinated in terms of, like, for instance, if Cole Beasley tested positive, he can't come around for 10 days no matter what. If you are vaccinated and you show 2 negative tests within 24 hours, you can come back. What one has to do with the other is beyond me. It should be very simple. You show 2 negative tests within 24 hours or whatever, it might be 40, I forget the exact rule. But you show the 2 tests, you're good to go. Move on. The whole vaccinated versus unvaccinated thing is irrelevant to me. And it should be to everybody. Because that doesn't change anything. If you're negative, you're negative. If you're positive, you're positive. Whether you're vaccinated or not, what does that have to do with anything? Nothing. And I think that's the problem here is that when you're going to say, well, you're unvaccinated 10 days, or you're vaccinated, you're showing symptoms 10 days, that's a problem, right? Like, look at Amari Cooper. He was out for those 2 consecutive games because it was a Sunday, Thursday. And if he showed a negative test, why couldn't he have been out there? The question is, are you able to spread the virus, right? Are you, what's the word I'm looking for? It begins with a C. I can't think of it right now. I'm tired. It's been such a long week. Contagious. That's the word, right? Contagious. Are you contagious?
Wow.
Are you going to spread it to other people? If you're not contagious, what does it matter? What does it matter? If you're past that phase, and I know that doctors, it's not an exact science, so you want to add a day or 2. Okay, fine. So that's how you start this. You show the 2 tests, you can play. The second way you do this is it's very clear. There's been enough data to show that when one person on the team has it, it looks like it spreads through the team very quickly, right? So if you have 5 starters or 7 starters, come up with the number that are tested positive. You bump that game back and you add a week on at the end, like you said, and don't have the double week for the Super Bowl. Very simple solution. If you have, we've gotten this far through the season and not had to suspend a game and have had no real serious, you've had a couple big ones, but no
my
serious
question, forget about this. Say we get through the next 3 weeks right? Because the NFL is going to do whatever they can.
I know what you're going to say. If a big test happens,
we get into the playoffs. What happens if Patrick Mahomes comes down with COVID? Or, right now Kelsey has it. What happens, it continues in Kansas City slowly. And,
I hear you.
2 of the playoffs, you have Mahomes has COVID. What are you going to do?
How about this? What about the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Mahomes is in the Super Bowl. Mahomes gets COVID. What you can have him not play the Super Bowl?
Listen, it's a tough situation. I don't have answers for it. I just know that it doesn't look good. It's a bad look when you don't have your best players out there. I get that they're trying to do what's best for everybody, and you can't please everybody, but you got to just stick with something. Because when you go with these are going to be the rules, and then the rules are different, which the NFL is a great way of doing that. This is a catch. That's not a catch. What's a catch? I don't know. So with the NFL, you never know what's going to happen. They say one thing, it's completely different what happens. Yeah. And I feel like the COVID policy is the same way. You don't know how they're going to react to it, so you don't know where we're going.
It's all about money.
It looks like it's a disaster waiting to happen. I hope not, but that's what it feels like.
I mean, the whole Antonio Brown thing was a disaster, right? We're going to cut him because he lied about his vaccination status. We're going to cut him until all their starting wide receivers get hurt. And now he's eligible. Oh, we forgave him. No problem. He's okay. At the end of the day, it's all about money. It's all about winning, and it's all about money. And that's why I go back to it. If nobody's seriously at risk, at what point do we say enough is enough? It's time to go back to. Are we going to do this for the next? Okay, so we started with COVID, then it was the beta variant, then it was the Delta variant, now it's the Omicron variant. What are we going to be at? Rho, Deuteron, Hexa, Vupa, Dupa in 28, 25? Like, at what point do we go back to normal? When?
That's a great question. This is my first pandemic.
Did I lose you?
Oh, you don't hear me?
You just faded out.
I don't know.
I gotcha.
Yeah, I don't know. I missed the first pandemic and the last pandemic in 1918, so I don't know what.
That was a real pandemic. You had tens of millions of people dying. We have not had that this time.
No, I mean, I don't know. So what proper protocol for a pandemic is, I can tell you that whoever's in charge has a lot of responsibility to try and do what's right. I don't know what the NFL is doing. I don't understand how they just make their decisions. I mean, I know the ACC just changed their rules for basketball. They were doing the automatic forfeit rule because, we finally got COVID under control. So if your team has COVID, you can't play with automatic forfeit. They now changed the rules to if you have 7 guys and a coach, one coach out of the whole team, your team can play. Otherwise
basketball you should be able to reschedule no problem. Basketball's so much easier to reschedule than football.
Oh yeah, I agree completely. Football, you need a certain time off before you can play again. It's just the way it is. You can't play back-to-back days in football.
Right.
Except if you're that high school. Where were they in Ohio? They play every other day. Bishop Sycamore.
High school is a little different than NFL.
Still shouldn't be playing, football, contact football every day. That's not healthy.
I agree.
But they switched the rule up. St. John's this week got a win over Seton Hall on a forfeit, 2-0. Let's go, Johnnies. Way to do it.
Well, let's look at this. Talk about rule switch ups. Kyrie, you can't play. All right. It's been enough time. You can play now. You can play.
Like that's needle.
Exactly. Like
everything is
stupid. Everything is stupid. Okay. It's utterly ridiculous that you have NFL unvaccinated players playing. No problem. Kyrie not vaccinated. He can't play. Why? Oh, that's why. Yeah. Nothing. Nothing.
And he still can't play home games.
Crap. So stupid. It's so stupid.
He can't play home games still because it's the city of New York.
Right.
Can't go into the arena without being vaccinated.
Explain this one to me, right? So he hops on the plane outside of New York with them, right? They play with him in Texas. And then he has to take a different plane back because as soon as he enters the airspace of New York City, the boogeyman comes out and gives them COVID, right? The COVID man comes out as soon. Okay, here it comes. No, we're in New York. Nope, they're COVID positive. Oh, the plane crashes because they're all COVID positive. Like, it's the same thing with restaurants. I don't get it. Okay, I'm walking into a restaurant. Okay, I'm sitting down. Shields down. We can eat now. Oh, wait, waitress. Shields up. Up. Shields down. Everything is stupid. It makes no sense. I just bleep myself.
Yeah, I don't get the restaurant thing because you need it. You need to have your mask off to eat. They have not created that mask yet, but I'm sure someone's in production trying to create one.
Oh yeah, you have the hole, right? How does that work? Wait, if it has a hole in the mask, it doesn't work. Then everything is stupid. Everything is stupid. Everybody is just. We are full. George Carlin, man, when he talked about that, he was so spot on. We are full of hypochondriacs in this country that are afraid of germs. They're afraid of germs. Everything is going to kill us. No.
That's what we need right now. We need a little George Carlin. We can resurrect that man. He was a great man.
We need a little bit of common sense and a little bit less fear of catching the common cold. You're going to get sick. Your kids are going to get sick. You're going to be okay. It's all right. It's time to go back to life. Remember, 15 days to stop the spread. We're in day 575. Seems to be going well. Let's keep giving up away our rights.
We could talk about that for ages. We have to go way back for that. You know, the first recollection that I remember of that was after 9/11, and I am sure there was before that, but that's for a different show. This is the sports show. But
unfortunately, this has become sports.
I know.
Listen,
when I first started a sports show, never did I ever about viruses, you know, seeing games canceled. Who in their right mind would ever think that? Look what I bring to the table. I get involved in sports. We're canceling games. You know, we got guys that can't play.
It's because you and your cigarettes. That's what you need to cancel.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I had to throw you under the bus.
Smoking's no good, children. Don't do it.
Excellent time to bring up don't do drugs.
Yes. What else we have on the agenda?
I think we hit everything. I think that's about it on my end. Do you have anything else you want to bring up?
I had something in my mind that I lost it.
I keep telling you got to write this stuff down. Got to write it down.
This was the worst production I've ever done. Just so you guys know. So, I mean, I've had good production, but this will by far be the worst I've ever done. And I've done some bad jobs.
All over behind me. I mean, the show started. I didn't even realize you started the show. I'm sitting here like, where's the music? Oh, wait, we're live. Good thing I didn't pick my nose, right? That would have been great. And then you had the echo in the background. That was awesome.
So let's just do a little baseball, though. The Mets taking over New York. Huge Yankee fan. I know you're a Red Sox fan. I'm a Yankee fan.
New York. What? They just they just crapped the bed.
They hired the best analytical manager in baseball.
Oh my God!
Who gets the most out of young guys? Who was out there that was better than the Mets?
I have this phone. Dude,
wow, you're anti-Buck.
I'm not anti-Buck. I'm just like the dude's how old now? Like,
listen, it doesn't matter how old he is. It's baseball. You could be old and manage.
Oh my God! Talk about retread. I mean, come on. no, no, this is not gonna work. This
Wow.
this is not. It's not gonna work. I don't know who the right choice was, but
I think the Mets are a playoff team this year. Put it down now. Mark it in the books. If they play baseball. That's the key
they're playing baseball.
I'm sure they will. I'm sure they will, but the Mets are a playoff team.
I don't know.
He's not a long-term answer, but he will get the most out of the young guys for the first couple of years. If he wants to, he can last 3 years there, and then he'll be gone. That's his thing. He's not a long-term answer. I actually had the opportunity to go down to Baltimore a couple of years back, the year after he left, and cover them in spring training. And I got to talk to some of the beat writers that covered the team all the time. And, you know, having been a Yankee fan and been around the Yankees when he would manage here, exactly what I saw and thought, and talking to the beat writers, exactly what they told me. He will get the most out of those young guys the first couple of years. Then he will wear out his welcome, and he'll be gone. They're going to improve drastically this year, and then they're going to be 2-3 years. They're not going to want him anymore.
Wow. I did not realize he's only 65. I thought he was a lot older than that.
He's been around the game a while, that's why.
Yeah, but he looks a lot older than that.
He does look older. That he does.
Look, either way, I just think the Mets, they don't need that style of manager right now. They have, I mean, it depends on who they bring back, but the Mets are a tough one. They're in New York. I think they overpaid. What's his name? The shortstop.
Lindor.
Lindor. I was never a fan of Lindor. I think they overpaid him, and I think that's going to be a contract that they're going to have to stuff down their throat. Scherzer is fine. He has 2-3 years left in him at least. He has at least 1 or 2 Cy Young years left in his arm, and he'll have a second, super solid, and a third year left in him. So I don't think that's a bad sign. And they have DeGrom. If DeGrom can stay healthy, I mean that's the key. The key is if DeGrom can stay healthy, and then they need to get some hitting.
So going back to remember the whole Astro scandal?
Right.
So looking on Facebook or Twitter today, I saw something about Buck. So when they first started the trash can thing, they happened to be playing the Orioles in a 3-game series in Houston.
Okay.
He immediately told, I forget the guy's name, whoever the GM was at the time, something's not right. There's something going on. He just is a very astute baseball manager. He knows what's happening.
My issue with him is not X's and O's. That's not my issue with him. I think he's a very smart guy. My issue with him is he's like Urban Meyer. He runs his team like it's college sports, right?
Oh, that was my other topic that I forgot about. But yeah, that's why I say he'll last 2 or 3 years. He's not a long-term answer.
I just don't think he'll last at all because I don't think that style works. It's like, what's his name that got fired from the Red Sox? He lasted there for a year and they were terrible.
I don't remember.
What the heck is his name?
You're a Red Sox fan. You should know.
I'm gonna look this up. Oh my God, you'll know who he is as soon as I say him.
I'm sure.
Anyway, what was the topic you wanted to talk about?
Urban Meyer finally getting fired after he
finally getting fired. That wasn't the main reason he got fired.
Oh, I know it wasn't the main reason he got fired.
Bobby Valentine.
Bobby Valentine.
He's the same type. He's the same type. Not X's and O's. Not X's and O's. I'm saying that type of in your face. Tries to. I'm okay with old school. Old school is not my issue. It's the when you're in professional sports, you have to manage divas. When you're in college sports, you're managing hungry guys that'll listen to everything you say because you control their future. So you can do certain things to motivate them that you can't do to NFL players to motivate them.
Exactly.
That's where Urban Meyer messed up. That's why I think Buck Showalter is not a great manager. That's why I think Bobby Valentine is a terrible manager, because these guys try to manage them like children when you have to treat these guys like adults.
Well, that's why I will say it's old school, because that you used to be able to do that years ago. The players weren't paid what they're paid today, and there was always somebody to replace them, unless it was Babe Ruth or Lou Gehrig. Those guys you were replacing.
You can still be old school style manager without that total domination, physical, mental, emotional. Like, it's a different type of old school now that you have to be. You have to do it more from the mental perspective than you could do in the physical perspective then, which makes it even harder to do now. But if done right, like, look at Belichick. I think Belichick is a great example of an old school coach in today's era.
Well, Al Groh says Bill Belichick has the greatest personality in the world. And Al Groh worked with him for 30 plus years. He says he's a funny guy. The way that we see him as media is completely wrong. That's not who he is. So,
I believe it. But that's beside the point. He still has there is a Patriot way. You have to buy in. You have to do the right things. It's listen, he has this is my way. I've won 7 Super Bowls. You want to be part of my team, this is the rules you're going to follow. If you don't want to be part of my team, then there's the door. That's that. That's the old school coach. You don't have to be angry. You don't have to be rah, rah, rah. You don't have to be getting somebody's face. I'm going to kick you if you do something wrong. Listen, I don't care how good you are. I don't care if you're a superstar. I don't care if you're Tom Brady. I don't care. If you're not going to follow my way, there's the door. That's fine. That's his approach. And that's the right old school approach. Not angry. This is the way or the highway. That's it. And that's not what Urban Meyer did. Urban Meyer is, you do it my way, or I'm going to drink and kick you in the shin, and then I'm going to go out and cheat on my wife in public. And
well, speaking of highways, that's about all the time we have for tonight. We're going to leave you to say that Urban Meyer has plenty of time to watch the show this week. And after you watch it, Coach, just remember, you'll be looking for work for a little bit until a college needs a coach. But if you want to take a job. But next time, let's not kick the kicker. Let the kicker kick. But, this has been both sides of the coin. Ask where can they find you.
You guys can find me adamgoldcpa.com. It's my new website. It should be up in the beginning of the year. Tax season is coming. So you need help with books, taxes, tired of TurboTax, tired of your old accountant that doesn't know crypto or what your, side gig is or anything like that. You need help, give me a holler. I also do group grading subs for sports cards. Have a good eye for that. You want to hit me up there. You can go on Facebook page, Golds, Cards, and Breaks is the Facebook page. But yeah, that's my gig. So reach out and let me know.
Follow me on Twitter, JB_the program. Sideline Sports Tuesday night, 8:30. DBNA TV every evening right now, 4 a.m. So wake up with me. What better way to start the day? I don't know. And
it's supposed to be an advertisement. That's not really an advertisement.
That's the perfect day. Get a cup of coffee, a cup of JB. You're ready to go.
Go back to sleep.
Monday night NBA carousel. Thursday night NFL carousel. You never know where you're going to find me. But until next time, we'll see you in a couple of weeks. Have a Merry Christmas, Happy Holiday, Happy New Year. Stay safe. Do what you got to do with this whole virus thing. If you want to be vaccinated, I say yay. If you don't want to, Adam says yay. Either way, who cares? Do what you got to do.
Go Cowboys.